Denise Gwen, reading aloud for you from my short story, The Greasy Spoon, Chapter 28. The walls shook, the building thudded with the heavy tread of many hundreds of hooves stamping in fear. Gears whined, men shouted, and the screams reached a crescendo. A truck loaded down with a shipment of hogs had arrived and was backing into the loading dock. Nick heard the high-pitched sound of the backing up device, his heart thudding dully. The hogs were still inside the truck, and they were frightened out of their freaking minds. He could see what happened next. Once the truck parked, the back panel door would open. The workers would then hustle the hogs out of the truck and push them through the chutes and metal barricades and shock them with electric prods and guide them toward a lamp leading to the shower room, where Nick and Ed would be there to greet them with wide open, happy smiles. The truck door hadn't even opened yet, and the darkness beyond did not yield much, but the stench from that cramped, fetid truck erupted like a blown-apart cistern, and both men stepped back, hacking, coughing, and spitting, and Nick rolled the metal sheet door back onto its place and eased it into the locking mechanism and locked it shut. The hogs screamed and howled as the workers hollered at them, and as the truck door flew open, the hogs rushed out of the truck and down a ramp and straight into the chutes. How long would it take them to reach the shower room? Nick peeked through a crack in the door and heard men shouting from the rails, exhorting the animals to move, you rat motherfucker, move! And get a move on, you fucker, you! Followed by electric bursts of the cattle prods, shocking the animals, followed by more screams, and then a crowd of hogs emerged. They screamed and howled and jumped onto each other's backs as, from the back, the men shouted and the cattle prods sizzled. The hogs ran straight for the door that Nick had locked, and a few saw Nick peering at them between the door and the door frame, and ran forward and wedged their snouts in between the door frame and the door sill, and they snorted with terror, and their eyes bulged with fear, and snot and blood streamed from their noses and their wide-open, screaming mouths. And Nick and Ed cowered on the other side of the door and leaned against it to keep it on its hinges. When it became clear that the hogs couldn't break down the door, finally, Nick and Ed relaxed a little and pushed away from it. The hogs that had been trying to get through the door gave up and squealed and cried, and then other hogs clamored for the door sill opening, and then others climbed on top of them and fell and screamed. Ed ran his blood-stained shirt sleeve across his face. Jesus. Yeah. Did you see that some of them had letters on their sides? Yeah, I did. C-U-L-L, Ed spelled aloud. Not all of them had those letters, but a lot of them did. Yeah. Back at the factory where they're raised, when they're big enough or get too old to produce litters anymore, they spray paint those letters on them. Oh, okay. You want to know something else? Nick said. What's that? The guys who've just delivered that shipment of hogs have no idea what's going on with us. For all they know, we're not even here. What are you suggesting? Ed said. That we get out of here through the shower room and go back through the loading dock and find our way to the truck and ask those guys to take us with them. Ed put his eye up to the crack in the door. If we try to walk through that mosh pit, we'll get trampled to death. Oh, fuck, Nick said. You're right. He should have known. Ed would point this out to him. But at the same time, for one hot second there, he'd believed they could escape from the slaughterhouse by retracing the hog steps back to the truck. But how on earth were they going to get through the shower room? It was hopeless. Nick rested his head against the door and let out a sob of frustration. Ed patted him on the shoulder. "Come on, kid. Let's go."